Yo, in this video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this using Blender and Octane with a DaVinci Resolve workflow. This is not really a step-by-step tutorial, more of a workflow that I went through. I'm pretty much new to the OctaneRender. I'm not new to Blender. I do a lot of compositing work with mobile photography and mobile filmmaking, but I like to play in Blender like daily render style. So I'm just starting to get back into Blender because it's got some fantastic stuff going on, and this is basically I found out about the OctaneRender, which I used to use Cinema 4D, and I had really liked that render there, but I cannot compete with the free the fact that it's free for Blender. So Blender also does have a free version of Octane, which is limited to 1 GPU. So I found that out about 3 weeks ago, and I jumped on it because it was something I wanted to play with. I am pretty new to this, so quickly here, this is a workflow video. I'm basically just doing a quick little daily render. I have 30 minutes in between my classes to do for break time, so I use it as a good time to practice Blender for 30 solid minutes. Can I start something, texture it, and composite it, and get it done and finished in 30 minutes? So the initial inspiration came from Ducky 3D. He did this little model with these 3 balls and this glass shader. I did that tutorial years ago, and it was something that I had really enjoyed. So I kind of went back for that just to get my my creative juices flowing. You see here, I just basically threw an array modifier on there. You can check out his tutorial on how to do it exactly step by step. And then there was another technique that I learned from another YouTuber, Marius, I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but he has a fantastic, I'll put all the links to their YouTube pages down below, where he does this masking technique, which I actually learned from him, which is pretty cool, using I think it was using the Vertex modifiers or something like that. So I'm probably wrong, but anyways, add a solidify modifier to that to get some thickness. I added a smoothing modifier to try to smooth it out, and then I eventually threw on a subdivision on top of that to even make it more smooth. I had a vision to make this also glass. Now I did do a smooth shading there, but that does not work when you use the OctaneRender, but I just did that out of habit. There are other options in the OctaneRender how to do that. So now I'm just kind of just quickly composing my shot here, trying to find out what I want to do. There's another tutorial which I just found 3 days ago. I forgot the guy's name, but I'll put the link down below, and he has a Kickstarter lesson on how to use the OctaneRender with Blender and get the proper settings. So here I'm going through to get the proper settings using an HDRI. So if you go down to colors management, you select none here, because this is the issue I had when I first started using it, and I kind of stopped for the second day. So these settings you need to do, and then I jump into the camera. After changing the color management, you jump into the camera. You also turn on this, and then you turn the gamma to 2.2 in the camera and set it to lumetri off. And then after that, you're going to need to change some world settings. So I quickly jumped into the world settings. Here you don't need this, that's from cycles, and I'll basically delete that because I want to add in an HDRI. Now eventually here, see texture environment. I should have left that node, but I deleted it, but you can still make it work without. I added an image texture node and plug that into Octane environment, bring in an HDRI. And these settings are pretty much critical to get it to look right. And then, which I hope I should do here right now, no, put that back in the environment. I'm still kind of new to this, so I'm trying to figure out my processes and my steps here. And basically what you need to do here, you need to change that image texture, the gamma, to 1, which I didn't do. I do a little bit later, but you need to change that gamma to 1, and then everything will render out the way it looks in the viewport, because a lot of people were complaining about that. But anyways, check the link down below. He has a really cool tutorial to steps to get you into that. Then the materials here, which is off screen, you're not seeing. I'm using, I hit F3 and you search live in the search, and Octane has a preset of some textures, and I'm using those right now to learn out the node flow, how they're building these textures. So it's a good way to learn how to build textures by looking at some preset textures. So most of these textures here off screen, there's a little library that pops up, and you can scroll through the different types of textures. So by me dissecting those, reverse engineering them, I'm kind of learning out how to use the nodes, the Octane nodes, because Cycle nodes and Octane nodes do not work together. So here I'm basically just doing some more composition stuff. And again, off screen, I'm going through the library of textures here. And one other thing too, that the lights don't work. I mean, I think the area light works, but most of the time you want to make a plane and add on a emissive texture to it to get it to work. Again, here I'm tweaking some more. So I duplicated the glass shader, and I'm changing up some stuff here. I didn't want it to look too uniform. So just again, some more daily render tweaking stuff. And then quickly down here, I'm going through some more there it is. You can see it pops up there. Another texture that I found that I kind of liked. And again, it's really easy to try to dissect these textures and learn how to build my own textures, which I'm eventually going to slowly start doing. I think on the floor texture here, I actually kind of did it myself. But some of the nodes are very similar. I'm finding out there's a texture node, there's a noise node, image nodes, displacement node. There's even a gradient texture node, which is basically compared to a color wrap. So there, see here, this is like their default, you know, principal BFD shader. So I basically delete that. Then I go into their default diffuse shader, and you see I bring the diffuse shader in. You can just change the color. It's only diffuse. One thing that's nice too, hang on, I do it here. I'm adding in a image texture, and I'm going to add in a displacement texture. I think I do next a displacement texture. Yeah, I add in a displacement texture. Now this plane only has one subdivision on it. Okay, this is one thing that's fascinating about the Octane render. I can displace this like if I have 50, 60, 70 cuts of subdivision on. I don't have any. I have one, and it does it all in the render. You can see here I'm going to make an adjustment on it here, right here. Let's see, boom, it's displaced. It's super fantastic, and it's so much easier on my system because I don't have this extremely heavy subdivided mesh. So that works out really fun, and I'm happy about that. So then again here, I'm thinking of I still need to figure out, I'm going to watch the video again about how to, I think I was playing back and forth trying to get the reflection map to get some noise into it. I had a image that I wanted to kind of, you know, some scuffs and stuff like that. And I'm still kind of confused. Do I need to put it into the roughness or into the specular? And there's the gradient texture node, which is basically similar to a color wrap in the cycles nodes. So you can see here, I'm experimenting again, and I think I should have left it right there or kind of tweaked it from there in the specular more than I had in the roughness. But again, that's why I like to do these daily renders, because I get to experiment, find out what works, what doesn't work, versus me trying to come in and just, you know, for me, the time limit I think really helps me stay focused. Some nights when I come here and I have, like, you know, free time after work, and then I fire up Blender and then I go blank. I just go boop, I just go flatline. But it seems that every time I'm at work and I have my lunch break, 50-minute lunch break, or I have a 30-minute break, and then I fire up Blender and I know I got a time limit, I get stuff done. So for me, I think having that time ticking away it keeps me motivated, keeps me focused. So here again, I'm tweaking the camera settings. You trying to get a good depth of field here. Off screen, I ended up finding, I think I did like an 8 or a 9 on the aperture there to get a good shallow depth of field. Again, I was really running out of time here. I was getting close to having to stop. So what I ended up doing off screen, in between my next class, I have a 10-minute break. So I jumped back in for 10 minutes and spent just 10 minutes on lighting, which I didn't show in this video, was off screen. But here I'm trying to add in a light. So basically you take a plane and you add a diffuse to it, diffuse material. and then I add a black body emission to it. I plugged it in the wrong place there. See, it's diffuse. I didn't, it should be plugged down and lower in the emission, which I come back and correct later. Just again, when you're I'm crunched for time, so I'm not really picking up on some of the small details. So again, I'm trying to figure out placing this light, and then I'm starting to realize, why is this light not working? And then I start, I'm getting frustrated from jumping back and forth to the shader tab. So I kind of just do a quick custom. I need to save this as a preset. This is easier to work like this. I have a small little preview window down here at the bottom, and then my workspace on the left, and then on the top right here, I'll put my node editor. So I need to get there, and then I plugged it in. And now also, if you don't see the light, you need to flip the panel. I tend to see, boom, there it is. Now you can see the light. I'm going to crank up the values a little bit. And again, off screen, I ended up turning the world lighting down, and here I make an adjustment in the camera. I'm dropping the exposure down, and just tweaking some light settings, trying to get a good look here, trying to get something cinematic, and get some really good contrasty light going here. So one other thing that's cool is this Octane post-processing, the glare, the bloom, which you always see, the signature of the OctaneRender. So we can do that all real time, and it also works within the camera. So I'm setting up a little bit of a glare here, and the rays, I like the one ray. I wanted to try to go for like an anamorphic lensy like flare thing here. Just experimenting what came to mind really quickly, and that was what I wanted to do there. So then I kind of go through here and I change the kernel preset to path trace, because I heard that works a little bit better when you're trying to render glass and subsurface. I don't really know too much yet about the preset settings. So just kind of scrolling through here, trying to turn on some settings. So eventually off screen, I went back and tweaked on the lighting again. And now I bring everything into DaVinci Resolve, which is a free software, which I'm super fantastic about. I've been using DaVinci for the last month. I do have the Adobe Cloud Suite, but I have not touched Premiere since I've started using DaVinci. Now I've been using DaVinci because of the node-based compositing and the color grading. So now what I like to do is bring my images into DaVinci and color grade them here using the color grading wheels, because DaVinci is like top tier as far as using other color grading tools. And they have the node-based compositor all built into DaVinci, so I can color grade. You can edit, color grade, composite, and Fairlight sound, edit sound, all within DaVinci Resolve. So it's super fantastic. And basically you can see here, I'm just adding some vignettes, and then I add another vignette to bring up the center. It's just quick and easy. It's the workflow is fantastic. I love it, and it's free. And that's even, there's a couple minor things that you don't get in the free version. Camera tracker, which I can use in Blender, so I don't need that. So, but there is one thing I'm missing that I wish I had, was the film grain presets, but I found a workaround with that. I jump into the node compositor here, and I use film grain in here, and basically tweak it to get some film grain look to it using the node-based compositor. And then boom, jump out, and that's pretty much it. My whole workflow from Blender to DaVinci Resolve. Again, 2 mega house free softwares. If you do not know about them, you should know. Most of you do know about Blender if you're watching this video, but if you do not know about DaVinci Resolve, and then quickly here, I save it as a image and exported it out as a JPEG. And pretty much that's it. That's how we get from this to this, all using free software. Alrighty guys, this quick little look at my workflow. Patrick LeVar. If you like what you see here, make sure you guys go ahead and sub and do all that jibba jabba stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.